So we're going to recap what we talked about today in class before we begin our assignment, which is watercolor oranges. So really quick, just a rundown of rule of thirds. At the bottom of the website page here, I have attached a PowerPoint presentation, and I don't have any voiceover with it, but you can just go ahead and flip through the files, and I think you'll get a general visual overlay of what rule of thirds can do. And there's really nice examples of artwork. So I would ask that you go through that real quick and just flip through the files. And I have a couple captions. It won't take you long. Just look at those images and analyze them. Try to apply what we're learning right here, okay? So rule of thirds, whenever you have any kind of image, you want to have an imaginary framework line over that image. It looks like basically like a tic-tac-toe. Okay, over your image. I know we talked about this in class, but I'll just repeat a bunch of things. Remember how we talked about how when you look at your camera and accidentally get on the wrong setting, all of a sudden there's this grid on your screen and you're wondering, what the heck? I don't want that on there. Well, this is actually a guide to help you in order to view the whole landscape or portrait that you're trying to take. You want to make sure that you make it interesting and that you don't land everything in the center. That isolates the subject. You want to land the majority of the information in one of these 4 points of interest. They're called points of interest. I'll put that out there. And of course, this is called the rule of thirds. Okay, so lay that out again. So if I'm going to place somebody in my landscape, I want to make sure that I'm going to put them basically along these paths, either vertically or horizontally. If I have a guy, I'm going to put his head maybe here, or his eye. If he's up close, you're going to want to put his eye in that point of interest, and you're going to make him stand in the landscape somewhere along a third. Also, you're going to want to pay attention to the ground-sky ratio. So you either have sky being the top 2/3 and say the ground being the bottom third, or you'd have the ground being the bottom 2/3 and the sky being the top third. You want that horizon line either on one of those 2/3. You don't want the horizon line in the middle, because when it goes in the middle, I don't know why, it's just boring. It doesn't work. So pay attention to your horizon line. Pay attention to where your subject matter is. Then also pay attention to where the points of interest are. Your eye tends to travel in graphic images around these points of interest, and it just circles from point to point to point to point in kind of a circular manner. And it will be much more interesting if you follow these guidelines. Okay, thanks.